If you had lent your ear to the Izmir waterfront on May 15, 1919, amid the cheers of joy you would have also heard this voice. Children of Elis, by reclaiming the lands of your ancestors today, you are performing the greatest miracle of Christ himself. Yes, in this video we will examine the story of Chrisostomos, the Christian Orthodox religious leader of Izmir, and bring to light a rarely revisited page of history. To some, he's a brave hero. To others, a ruthless enemy of the Turks. So who exactly was Chrisostomos according to historical records? Born in Bursa in 1867, Chrisostomos rose through religious education to the rank of metropolitan bishop, becoming responsible for all churches in his region. Fiercely loyal to Greek nationalism, he often clashed with the Ottoman authorities during his service, for he desired that Istanbul and Izmir be annexed to Greece, working tirelessly for the dream of a greater Greece. He assisted separatist Greek groups, supplying them with weapons and shelter. Despite this record, under great pressure he was appointed to Izmir. During World War I, his separatist activities stirred anger among the Muslim population, and in 1914, at the request of Governor Rami Bey, he was forcibly removed from Izmir by police. But Chrisostomos was not one to give up. When the Ottoman Empire lost the war, he reappeared. His first move was to ensure the arrest of Rami Bey, the man who had sent him into exile. Then he returned to Izmir as a religious leader once more. Now he felt closer than ever to his lifelong dream of the Greater Greece ideal. He wrote articles portraying Christians in Izmir as being under pressure and called for Greek military involvement. He gathered young Greeks from Greece into clubs, where he delivered passionate speeches. Yet his efforts were obstructed by Nureddin Pasha, nicknamed Sakalli, an Ottoman commander stationed in the region. At that time, the Ottoman government under Sultan Mehmed C obeyed whatever the allies demanded. Chrisostomos insisted on Nureddin Pasha's removal from Izmir. On March 22, 1919, it's a pro-British Damat Ferit government dismissed Nureddin from both his governorship and military command. Chrisostomos even demanded his execution, but fearing backlash from the army, the request was denied. Nureddin Pasha would never forget that day. With no obstacle left, Chrisostomos intensified his efforts. On May 13, 1919, he received the greatest news of his life. In 2 days, Greek troops would land in Izmir. The secret was meant to be kept hidden to avoid Turkish resistance, but Chrisostomos could not contain himself and began preparations. Suspicious Turks tried desperately to organize, but it was too late. On May 14th, under Chrisostomos' leadership, a gathering was held in the church. A reception ceremony for the Greek troops was organized, and donation chests were prepared. Kneeling before the Greek flag, Chrisostomos sang hymns in tears. On May 15th, as Turks watched in sorrow from the hills, cheers erupted along the waterfront. The first ships appeared. Dressed in special ceremonial robes, Chrisostomos blessed the Greek soldiers as they disembarked. With fervent nationalist passion, he delivered a fiery speech, trembling with excitement.
My soldier sons, children of Hellas, by reclaiming the ancestral lands today, you are performing Christ's greatest miracle. The more Turkish blood you spill and drink in this sacred cause, the greater your reward in heaven shall be. As for me, I shall quench my hatred and vengeance by drinking a cup of Turkish blood. Go forth. All the saints stand behind you. The lands of your ancestors await you.
Despite warnings from sensible Greek politicians to avoid actions that would provoke Turks, his words ignited fury. Outraged Turks resisted the landing, and according to foreign accounts, 300 Turks were killed in the initial moments. Officers were bayoneted and captured. Men like Süleyman Fethi Bey were murdered. The International Commission of Inquiry presented at the Paris Peace Conference in October 1919 stated in Article 9, the Greek military, political, and religious leaders did nothing to calm the people. The blessing ceremony of Chrisostomos did nothing but pour oil on the fire. British observer David Walker described the scene. Archbishop Chrysostomos, in his most splendid robes, took on blessing the troops with prayers. As the number of Greek soldiers increased, the behavior of the crowd changed. Turks in sight were immediately seized, disarmed, and arrested. The Greeks, long unable to maintain composure in victory or defeat, seemed drunk with centuries of frustration. Turks caught at the harbor were insulted, beaten, and those who resisted were killed. The Danish press reported Turkish soldiers were massacred, officials killed or maimed, homes looted. British Admiral Sir Calthorpe reported to Lord Curzon. According to European witnesses, in the very first step of the occupation, the Greeks killed 20,000 Turks in Izmir. A British control officer's report stated, in the countryside around Izmir, the Greek population looted Ottoman armories and plundered Turkish villages. Muslims were hunted down and killed like prey. One of the most candid testimonies came from Donald Whittall, a member of Izmir's wealthy Anglo-Levantian Whittall family. I unwillingly witnessed the massacre of some 30 unarmed men with hands raised between the customs office and Kramer Hotel. The entire slaughter was carried out by Greek soldiers. Between the Egyptian Stock Exchange and the Orient Bank, I saw 6 prisoners shot dead just 10 meters away from me. Further up, I saw 5 more men perish under Greek weapons. After those days, when cheers turned into screams, Izmir fell into a grim calm. Turkish nationalists and IFI's local militia leaders retreated to the mountains to continue the struggle. Even Italy disapproved of the Greek occupation. For Chrisostomos, however, the mission was clear: to make this temporary occupation permanent. With close ties to the local governor Izzet, he became one of the most powerful figures in Izmir. The second phase was to erase the Turkish and Muslim presence from the region. Yet what he had not expected was the sudden rise of organized resistance in Ankara under Mustafa Kemal. Among that leadership cadre was none other than his old adversary, Nureddin Pasha. Nevertheless, early Greek victories boosted his confidence. He even handed over a Byzantine banner in Ephesus to be raised on Ankara's citadel. The dream of Greater Greece seemed within reach. Nevertheless, early Greek victories boosted his confidence. He even handed over a Byzantine banner in Ephesus to be raised on Ankara's citadel. The dream of Greater Greece seemed within reach. As massacres in Anatolia's villages drew international outrage, Chrisostomos shifted his policy. Rather than relying solely on the Greek army, he mobilized local Greeks and volunteers arriving from Greece on ships, blessing them and sending them to various towns. French diplomats began warning their government of the consequences. Lord Curzon later admitted, "Our greatest mistake was to let the Greeks occupy Izmir." The Young Christians Association, founded under Chrisostomos, intensified pressure on the Turks. Shopkeepers awaited in despair the inevitable looting of their businesses. But after the Battle of Sakarya, momentum shifted. The Greek advance was halted, and for the first time, Turkish forces counterattacked. Internal disputes within the Greek army worsened. Support from foreign powers dwindled. Volunteers deserted. Even the idea of establishing an Ionian state around Izmir failed to gain recognition. On August 26, 1922, the Turkish offensive began. As days passed, the Greek civilians flooded into Izmir, desperate to flee. Chrisostomos' fairy tale was collapsing. Despite advice to flee to Greece, he chose to remain, declaring he would stay with his congregation. Yet this was reckless. Those who had lost loved ones on the first day of occupation were swearing revenge as the Turkish army advanced. Nureddin Pasha was riding toward Izmir. In desperation, Chrisostomos had Greek newspapers shift tone, no longer talk of Greater Greece, only slogans of Muslim Christian brotherhood. On September 9th, 1922, Turkish troops entered Izmir. Contrary to fears, there was no massacre. Let us hear the rest in the memoirs of General Fahrettin Altay. Leaders of Izmir came to greet Mustafa Kemal at the government house. Among them was the Metropolitan of Izmir, Chrisostomos. Atatürk, smiling, said to Nureddin Pasha, "He is your friend, go meet him." "I do not wish to see him." Nureddin confronted him, saying, "Do you see how events have unfolded? Do you not feel any regret for what has happened?" Chrisostomos denied responsibility, insisting on his innocence. Nureddin replied, "From this point on, you will no longer be regarded as Metropolitan. You must appoint a deputy and step aside." As he was leaving, an angry officer from the crowd grabbed his beard, shouting, "I witnessed the violence you supported with my own eyes. How could a man of faith do such a thing?" He then forced Chrisostomos to proclaim Zito Mustafa Kemal, "Long live Mustafa Kemal." But the anger of the crowd only intensified. Instead of stepping back to safety, Chrisostomos moved further into the masses. There, you had the gouvernamed at the bill slow surrounded, and overmobbed, he met a tragic end at the hands of the mob. When news of his death reached, had reportedly expressed sorrow, not have happened today. In Greece, Chrisostomos is remembered as a national figure. Stand you for good. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay well.